Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today we got a lot to talk about. Things are getting crazy on the streets. Shout out to everybody that takes the time to watch this show. Shout out to Sonny. He's not feeling well, so we're going to send prayers out to him. But I appreciate everyone that takes the time. We have a really good show for you guys today because there's so much going on. P. Diddy is in a whole bunch of trouble. They raided both of his houses yesterday. Looks like he's going to be, who knows? Will he cooperate like the rest of these guys? Or will he have to sit and face the music? You know, a lot of these famous people, they end up getting out of the trouble anyway. They don't really have to always, right when I'm doing a show. But check out this overhead of Diddy's house getting raided. Edwin, what's up? Pink Panther, how are you? Anthony, how are you? So this is Diddy's exclusive mansion where they raided his house. They ended up handcuffing his sons, his two sons. I don't know why everyone has to message me at the same time, right? Let me turn this ringer off. So they came in deep. They had Homeland Security. They had FBI agents, the local police. They're on him. So allegedly, this is all from not a criminal case. Yeah, they arrested the two sons too.
On YouTube. Hey, YouTube,
but
sorry about that.
I don't know why. Why did they arrest the sons? Maybe they had a weapon or maybe they had drugs, allegedly. This is all for entertainment purposes only. And but who knows? I don't think they're involved with what Diddy was doing, but you never know. People are saying, "Oh, we feel so bad for his daughters." For what? Why? Why would you feel bad for his daughters? He put them in this situation. Like, it seems like a personal problem. Look at this fucking house. You tell me you can't live you can't live a normal life and have a house like this. It's not possible, I don't think. People are weirdos. The P. Diddler is finished. Raekwon, how are you? Richard, what's going on? Like, look at this house. I think this is in Beverly Hills too. Do you know how much a house like that costs in Beverly Hills?
We counted 6 people out of the home, out of this property. Now there's actually 3 buildings here. You've got the main house right there.
Hey, Goat, how are you?
The one that I would almost call a back house, or maybe the pool house.
So the pool house is where they focused their energy. He allegedly trafficked people, women, men. So there's a complainant that he did some things to them as this guy was working for him, and he said a whole bunch of things. It reads like an indictment, but he's not wanted. Like, so him taking off is pure. It looks like guilt. What does it look like to you guys?
Or guest house, and then you have a smaller one that's actually behind some trees right over. I would almost venture to say that one, again, I don't know. You know, who knows what they're using it for? I'm just venturing to guess. But you have another residence over here with a hot tub in the back. Maybe that's actually on somebody that's living on site. That's a caretaker. I don't know. But they got in and almost right out the box, they got 6 people in custody. All those people actually came out of not the.
There's his sons right there. They had him handcuffed in the front yard. Yeah, he was tipped off and he left the country. Like, what are the chances you leave the country right when all this is going on? And now, Mickey Griggs, what's up? RV Docs, how are you? The Bronx, what's going on? The GOAT, William, how are you? So, yeah, what are the chances, right? All this is going on and he ends up leaving the country right away. Very suspicious.
Range Rover, not the Range Rover. That's the first thing they did. They opened up that gate, got in there, and they popped the doors on the Range Rover. They came out of there.
So he's not wanted. There's not an arrest warrant for Diddy. So him leaving is very suspicious. All they did, they had a search warrant for his house because there is someone suing him. It's a civil complaint, right? And there's all this crazy shit in the civil complaint. So, and it reads like an indictment though. So it's very weird.
I don't know why. I know it's a garage. I have no information. I'm just talking about what we saw when we got here. And one by one, they took them, and everybody got cuffs to begin with, and then they started taking off the cuffs, and some were still cuffed. But arrested, I wouldn't use that word. I would say in custody. They had them over here. They were talking to them.
Yeah, so 2 of his sons were in custody, as this guy would say. But so who knows what's going to happen with them. But we'll get back to this one because there's another major story going on right now. The Scott Bridge, I think it's called the Scott Bridge, was hit by a barge and it fell while there was cars on the bridge. I have the video for you guys. Let's check it out. And there's cars driving on this bridge as this is happening. Insane. It's crazy. Like, what do you think this is from? Rescue efforts are underway. But that water is so cold that I don't think you'll make it too long in this water. It's so cold right now. Around April, it's still cold. May, you probably wouldn't survive if you fell in there in May. See the barge right there on the left? So the barge, they're saying that the barge lost power, right? And it smashed into the bridge. But if you look at that barge, it's bigger. It can't fit under that bridge. So why is it anywhere near that bridge? If you look at the barge, there's a big tower on the barge that goes over the bridge. It would not even fit under that bridge. So something's not adding up here. See how big the barge is? That barge can't even fit under the bridge. So for them to say that it was headed towards going under the bridge, that's a lie. They're giving a false narrative. I'm going to show you guys up close pictures of the bridge and of the barge and let you guys decide on what you think happened. Hold on, let me get the pictures. Now, this is very close, really close shots of what happened. You guys tell me what you think. Really detailed pictures. All right, here's one. them cars just plummeted right in, and they're not going to float, right? The cars are going to go bloop, right down. Especially if they're catching speed as they're falling off the bridge, they're going to plummet right into the water. They're not going to like bob around, you know? Look at that. Insane. It shows different angles. Look at the cars on the bridge. You can see the cars right there on the right. Vehicles could be seen falling into the water as a large portion of the bridge collapses. And this happened at 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's in Baltimore. It says rescue efforts are underway. If you look close, there's a big tower on that barge. There's a big antenna, right? Huge. Goes past the bridge. Goes over the bridge. How are they going to go under the bridge if the antenna can't go under the bridge? Make that make sense to me.
Major collapse of a bridge in Maryland. It happened just before 1:30 a.m. A cargo ship strikes a pillar of the Francis Scott Key Bridge.
See how close the top of the cargo ship is to the top of, or the bottom of the bridge? It's like a little gap. And then there's a big antenna on the cargo ship. So how is that going to fit under that bridge?
Sending the principal section of that bridge into the river there. You can see it on your screen. Wow. Officials say 2 people have been plucked from the water, 1 in serious condition, so serious they were unable to debrief that person. And Maryland's governor has declared a state of emergency. This is a bridge along Interstate 695 in Baltimore County. It's more than 1.5 miles long, and underneath it, many cargo ships pass daily. The Port of Baltimore is just behind it. Rescue crews now actively searching for
There's got to be another way into the port. There has to be. I'm going to look for a map and see.
Possibly 7 people in the water.
We are still very much in an active search and rescue posture at this point, and we will continue to be for some time. We have a large area that we have to search. This includes on the surface of the water, subsurface, as well as on the deck of the ship itself.
We're going to begin our coverage with Nicole Skanga, who has made her way to the scene. She's in Dundalk, Maryland, not far from where that bridge went down. Nicole, good morning. What are you hearing? What are you seeing? What do you know?
Good morning, Tony. Well, details are still emerging this morning, and Baltimore fire officials saying they've rescued 2 individuals from the water, one of them uninjured, one of them in serious condition, and transported to an area trauma center. Now, the search area here is large, and officials are reiterating they have used specialized sonar equipment to detect multiple vehicles underwater. They've not yet said how many, but they are looking on the surface of the water, underwater, and also on the deck of that ship.
Video captures the terrifying moment a container cargo ship plowed into a massive column supporting the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. Moments later, you can see flames and thick plumes of smoke coming from the ship. Then the section of the bridge starts to crumble before collapsing into the Patapsco River below.
The entire bridge, the entire Key Bridge is in the harbor.
The Baltimore City Police Department said only part of the 1.6-mile-long bridge collapsed. Video shows multiple cars driving on the bridge at the time. They could not confirm how many, but did say there was at least one the size of a tractor trailer.
They were workers. That was their vehicles. They were pouring concrete.
Baltimore police say there is a possibility construction workers on the bridge.
Hey, Steve, Raekwon, how are you? Italian Stallion, what's going on? Full green light. I don't think this is a coincidence. I think this is, hey, Sadia, how are you? Maureen. So I have a picture. I said I would give you guys a picture of the bay, and it looks like there's other ways in there. There's other bridges that are probably higher than that bridge. Boom, here it is. So there's a way down there on the right, you see, down on the bottom right. There's a way to get out right there. I don't think that's the only way to get out. But that's not a coincidence. I don't care what anyone says. They said it lost power. Then why did the boat keep going? It couldn't stop it manually. If the boat loses power, you could still stop it, right? Why was it so close to the pillar? It just, none of it makes sense. But things just, to me, it's insane. I have a video. So I was on a trip to, I think this one, I think this is when I was on the way to DC, and I'm going to show you. I'm not sure if this is the exact bridge, but looks damn close. Check this out. Can you imagine that falling? Hell no. Insane. Hold on, I got another one up close. Imagine that thing just going poof, and all the cars just drop. No thank you. All right, let's get back to it.
They have fallen into the river. Rescue teams are looking for up to 7 people who may be in the river, along with an unknown number of vehicles. Water temperatures at the time were 48 degrees, putting anyone in the water at risk for hypothermia.
This water is current influenced, so right now we think the tide is coming back in. That adds a bit of a challenge to us also.
I wanted to know what the bang was. Ship hit the key bridge.
So the tide's coming in. That makes the water higher, right? It just doesn't make sense because there's a huge antenna on that vessel towards the back. And I don't think it could fit under that bridge. So make it make sense. And they said that they think 20 people have passed away from this. They don't have an exact number, but they're saying 20 as of right now. Crazy.
Sinking, the bridge is gone.
An official with the Coast Guard in Baltimore confirmed the 974
Pain like Bane, what's
long
up?
and 161 feet wide Singapore flag cargo ship called the Dolly collided with the bridge. It was headed to Sri Lanka.
Never would you think that you would physically see the Key Bridge tumble down like that. It looked like something out of an action movie.
Now, Maryland fire officials say the crew is still on board the ship. The owner of
Look at that.
confirms that.
Look at that. That's insane. I don't know if this is the same bridge. It looks like it kind of, right? So when I was on my way to DC, I don't know. It looks kind of the same.
All of that crew, including 2
But who
pilots,
knows?
are accounted for. Remarkably, none of them were injured. Now, the White House says they are closely monitoring the situation, and an official tells CBS News there's no indication of any nefarious intent here. Jerika?
Of course, there's no nefarious intent here, right? We're just gonna rule that out, just like they ruled out that speeding car at the border that exploded. The one where they ran through the checkpoint and exploded. Yeah, they said that was an accident. Yeah. They didn't wish to do any harm. You were on is in Delaware. You were on is in Delaware. Yeah, probably. It's one of those. It's close to it. I know that.
All right, Nicole Scanga-Forrest, thank you. For more on this, let's bring in our senior transportation correspondent, Chris Van Cleve. Chris, good morning. We just heard how large that ship was, but can you put into context for us, this bridge was used for passenger and commercial vehicles. The impact there, the number of people that are used to going across that bridge every morning.
Crazy. You know how backed up all this is going to be from this situation? It's going to really put a dent in a lot of things. And you know they have an event coming up, right? The eclipse. Everyone's talking about it. What's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen.
I think there are a couple of impacts here. One, you have about 31,000 vehicles cross that bridge every day. It is one of the 3 ways you get across Baltimore Harbor. The other 2 are tunnels. The bridge is part of the Baltimore Beltway 695. There's also the Port of Baltimore, the nation's 9th busiest port, handles a lot of vehicles coming in and out. There's also a cruise terminal there. It's unclear how accessible that port is going to be because of what happened here. You had a cargo ship weighing more than 155,000 tons go into this bridge. This was an enormous ship, Jerika.
And even when you talk about the weight of that ship, you wonder too, I'm sure, how fast it must have been going at that point to cause that kind of devastation. What's next for those who will not be able to use that area and the surrounding location?
They'll be in traffic for about 15 hours to go somewhere else. They're going to have to. So my question is, so the bridge falls, right? Was there any drivers that were just driving down the street and all of a sudden there's no more bridge and they kept driving right off it? Can you imagine? Like, how fast did they get up there and shut it down? Were they able to come up there, shut it down before more people could go over the edge? It's crazy. Yeah, make sure you go and wish Sonny health, and we're sending prayers to him.
Well, certainly for commuters in Baltimore, it's going to create some challenges. You know, the tunnels can only handle so much traffic.
And if that's the only way out of that port, no more vessels are leaving that port. How are they going to get out? They're trapped in there. Like, come on, man. This looks like a coordinated thing. Remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. It's pure speculation.
And now they're going to see a lot more of it. So that's going to be a challenge for commuters. I think the bigger question economically is how accessible is the Port of Baltimore going to be? And if there, if there are cargo containers or debris or that ship, how long will it take to remove those things in order to get the port back up and running? Jerika?
Breaking news, breaking news. Gene Barillo applies Vaseline to P the Diddler. And we have an inside picture of that. Let's check it out. Hold on, let me get it. You know we got a picture. Come on. P. Diddler. Here's his mugshot. Look at them. They're all having a blast. Just tell the government everything. You could still be a gangster on YouTube, P. Diddler. Just like these guys. It's easy. If they can do it, anyone can do it. All right, let's get back. Unless you guys want to see the beginning of that again, check it out. Crazy. You know what? 5-10 years ago, you wouldn't have a video like this. It would be very rare that you have videos everywhere nowadays. Insane. All right, let's get back to the Pete Diddler stuff.
Taking pictures of them, just talking, and then they put them all in a vehicle, and they have since left the scene. Now, I don't know who they were. I can tell you, probably if it would have been Sean Combs, believe me, we would know that. Don't know who those folks were, caretakers.
Yo, we got the biggest fan in the building. We really appreciate you. Come on. Come to the front. There you go. JB from Florida. With you and your third friends. Have a good one. I clogged the damn toilet, and Sonny's not here to fucking jiggle the handle. Damn it. It'll stop. All right. I think you went all the way down. Let's get back to the content.
I honestly could be the pool guy for all I know. But at any rate, we saw that happening earlier on. What's going on right now? Well, a number of those armored guys are still inside this home that you see here, the main building. And I got you on the IFB there, if you're hollering at me. So
go to jail. How are you?
It's one of those things. It's like to talk about it
Thomas.
on television is a little different than on the internet. One of the main concerns for law enforcement is in a situation like this. So let's
Where'd he go? Where'd JB go, huh? Oh, he went down the toilet. That's too bad. Enjoy down there.
Somebody's on that.
Make sure you hit the like button.
You know, who knows who this person is? But they see armed people coming in through the gates. They don't have any idea what's going on. They don't know that's law enforcement. They don't know that, for all they know, that could be robbers. And so somebody could be hiding in one of these rooms inside here. And that person also could possibly be armed. So that's kind of one of the reasons what's taking so long. They have to secure the building, is what I'm saying, because you don't want to have investigators doing their investigation.
Yeah, it was Homeland Security doing the raids on P. Diddler's house, and they said I should rename my channel to the #1 hater channel. The #1 hated channel. Maybe that sounds like more like it. That's how things start, Bill. Civil investigation, and then if there is evidence, it seems like they have enough evidence. If they're getting search warrants for the house and all this shit, looks like there's going to be plenty of other things to follow.
Hours from now, and have somebody kick open a door with a gun and start, like, who are you guys? Pop, pop, pop. You don't, and it sounds like I'm poking fun at it, but really, truly, that is the scenario that they're needing to avoid. So that was one of the reasons why it is taking so long. We also were talking about the whole legal ease that goes on about how this even happens. This isn't like somebody said.
All right, so I gotta use my words wisely. It says Sean Diddy Combs, controversial issues, lawsuits, and more. Now this is the Rolling Stones. So hold on. All right, P. Diddy Combs accused of assaulting a 16-year-old P. Diddy Combs accused of assaulting another woman who allegedly is in the lawsuit that the music mogul. So he allegedly did this in the 90s. Singer Aaron Hall, also named in a lawsuit, originally filed in December. Updated suit includes new details about the allegations. This allegedly happened in 1990 and 1991 at friend Aaron Hall's apartment. The alleged assault happened following an event at the offices of MCA Records, according to the lawsuit filed in November in New York Supreme Court, one day before the expiration of the New York Adult Survivors Act, which allows adults of assault survivors 1 year to sue regardless of when the original statute of limitations expired. And the amended suit was filed March 12th. After the initial suit was filed, a spokesperson for Combs told the news that the claims involving the alleged misconduct against Mr. Combs over 30 years ago and filed at the last minute are all completely denied and rejected by him. He recognizes that this is a money grab because Mr. Combs' fame and success. He is an easy target for accusers who will falsify the truth without consequence or for financial benefit. The New York legislature surely did not intend or expect Adult Survivors Act to be exploited for improper purposes. The public should be skeptical with no rush to accept the unsubstantiated allegations. Hall could not immediately be reached for comment. The woman was shocked and traumatized. The woman identified in the complaint is Liz Gardner. She said she was a friend. She said a friend met Combs and Hall, who was a member of an R&B group Guy at the record label offices at an event MCA was hosting. The friend was not named as a plaintiff in the lawsuit. The suit alleges that Combs and Hall were very flirtatious and handsy with Liza and her friend, and they offered them drinks throughout the event. Towards the end of the night, Combs and Hall invited Gardner and her friend back to Hall's apartment for an after party, according to the lawsuit. While at Hall's apartment, Liz was offered more drinks and was coerced into having S with Combs, the suit says. After Combs finished doing his business, Liz said she laid in bed, shocked and traumatized. While she was trying to get dressed, Hall allegedly barged into the room, pinning her down and forced her to do the same thing with him. Following the alleged assaults, she got dressed and ran from the home. My question is, did she report this to the police when it happened? So let me get this straight. All this happens. She doesn't report it to the police, and she's able to file a lawsuit 30 years later. Is that how this works? That's pretty crazy. In the lawsuit, accuses both men of assaulting Gardner's friend at that same evening in Hall's home. Upon information and belief, when Combs finished with Liza, he and Hall switched, and then they commenced to assaulting Liza's friend in the lawsuit. Days later, Combs went to the home where Gardner and her friend were staying and became irate, allegedly assaulting and choking Gardner until she passed out, according to the suit. It says that Combs was allegedly looking at her friend because he feared she would tell the girl he was with. He was scared that she was going to tell the girl he was with at the time. Crazy. Gardner said on Tuesday they obtained exclusivity that she was 16 at the time and too young to consume alcohol legally or consent for S. It says Gardner had been invited to New York and introduced to Combs by a close friend who were members of the group Jodeci. And the new filing indicates that Gardner was wearing a black skirt with a button-up blouse. Representatives and attorneys for Combs did not immediately respond. In addition to Combs and Hall, the lawsuit names MCA Music Entertainment Group and Griffin Records as defendants. Damn, so they're going after all of them, the business and everything. It's crazy because he settled with those other, with his ex-girlfriend, Cassie, right? It's insane.
Hey, I heard, Sean's got this and this and this and this, or Mr. Diddy or Mr. Combs, has got something
Hey,
going
Buffalo
on.
Bill, Buckshot, what's going on? How are you guys? Thanks for joining me. Gary, what's going on? The Bronx. Thomas. Salvatore. William, what's up?
There was a lot going on before this actually happened. And this is also a coordinated raid. There's also, we understand that they raided his home in Miami as well. I have no idea what exactly they're looking for. I'll be very honest about that. I didn't even know that there was legal issues going on with Sean Combs. And so I honestly don't have any of those kind of components. All I can tell you is right now, this is in the Holmby Hills area. That's his home that you see right there. And now it has a command post out front, and that command post belongs to Homeland Security. You have a number of armored vehicles, most of them belonging to Homeland Security. Got one there, a couple of them in the driveway as well. We did see one, I believe it was a sheriff's vehicle, that has since left the area. But there's still a number of that Homeland Security officers out there, and I'm talking about the soldiers. I'm talking.
Look how big that house is. It's insane. Greenwich, Connecticut bridge collapse. I don't remember that. I remember a bridge collapse, but I forgot where it was.
About the boots on the ground type of guys that are still here, and I would venture to say probably in the neighborhood of 40 to 50 of them. And then you also have younger guys, probably investigators, and then you also have some suits that arrived eventually, and they all made their way inside that home. That's what's going on right now. Now that we have been talking about this, and I even feel, and for me, it doesn't roll off my tongue at all to say that this is all about sex trafficking. And, I hear that many, but can't ever happen. Type on for Miami.
Damn, that was in 1983. And I was 4 years old at the time. The Magnus River Bridge that spans and carries Interstate 95 and Connecticut Turnpike over the Mangus River between Coes Cove and Riverside, Connecticut, which is the second bridge on the site. The original bridge collapsed in 1983, killing 3 motorists. That's crazy. Hey, John, how are you? James, what's good? Roscoe, thanks for joining me. Appreciate you. Look at that house, man. That house is huge. That's way bigger than 50's house. That's annoying though. Get your damn connection together, buddy. Hey, Pink Panther, what's up, man? How are you? Maureen, Thomas. The room's filling up quick. The toilet bowl has one turd in it so far.
Behavior. They made into this property.
Yeah, let me get to where it's.
So, house next.
Septic tank is empty at this point. Yeah, you guys know that Shine did not really shoot that girl. It was really Puffy that did that. But Shine took the rap. He ended up going to prison. Puffy paid him. And then he got deported. But I guess he was able to come back to the United States because he was here recently. Isn't that right, Pink Panther? So I did an interview with someone who was locked up with Shine, who was an associate with Pink Panther. Those interviews are going to be dropping soon. I also interviewed Sugar Bear from Philadelphia. If you guys don't know who he is, a great dude. And he told me crazy stories about what it was like growing up in Philly. And here, I'll show you guys a clip. Check it out. Hold on, it's loading. All right, check out this clip from the newest interview. It's going to be dropping today.
I got lucky in my neighborhood, where I lived with my mother, across the street on Broad and Wolf. I grew up in Broad and Wolf. Was a funeral parlor, and my father was so close with the family, the Leonetti family. You know, Joe Leonetti, the owner of the funeral parlor, gave me permission to. My father, I told him who my father was, and my father talked to him. He said, "Sure, I park in the parking lot in the funeral parlor parking lot."
Was he related to
no, that no relation. No, that Leonetti. There's a lot of Leonettis in South Philly.
Yeah. So you guys don't want to miss that one. It's a really good interview. He talks about Salvi Testa, Sugar Bear Barberry. Shout out to Sugar Bear. It's a really good interview. You guys don't forget to tune into that one tonight. I'm going to be dropping that one. You know I got the exclusive content you won't see anywhere else. You got the police tanks and shit right next to some luxury cars, Ferraris and Bentleys and shit. Here comes the fucking the rugged looking tank that the police drive. Armored vehicles. That Nadu ringing the bell. They let the feds in. I'm sure they did. A lot of great stuff dropping. So Frank Toffler watching the Diddy. Yeah, J-Lo's going through a bunch of shit right now too, right? People are all on her shit. She acts real stank out in public. She wants you to count the ice cubes. Shit, I hear. It's crazy. You're just a normal person. You're nobody better than anyone else. I don't understand these people. New camera angle. The bridge is higher than the ship. Yeah, maybe I seen it wrong. But it looked like it had a I don't know, like a radio antenna or something that went above the bridge. So if that's the case, how was that boat going under the bridge? How was the barge going under the bridge? It just doesn't make sense that there's that much room and they hit the pylon like dead on, collapse the whole bridge. Oops, sorry, my bad. That's like $1 billion mistake. They couldn't manually steer that ship. It just doesn't make sense. And they could spin the tail however they want. It's still not going to make sense. Here, I got some more stuff that might not make sense to you guys. Let's take a look.
In our neighborhood, we had an area called the Dome. It was up in the park. It was something you would see out of kind of the movies. I mean, to us, it was normal because we're young kids growing up in that area.
Guess what? I've been there. I went to the Dome. I got video from there too. Maybe I'll be dropping that soon.
But as I'm growing up and I'm going in that area, you can basically go up to the Dome and it was like a 5 and dime store of drugs, weapons, and anything that you wanted to, buy, they had it up there. So
that's where he would get his Uzis and submachine guns. Oh wait, he liked revolvers. I remember.
Locally to Jamaica Avenue was Kennedy Airport, so that was used as a hub for all of us to hijack trucks, give me up trucks, and all that swag would end up in our neighborhood. Sometimes sold in bulk, and then other times sold to individuals who will take it up into the Dome, and we.
So in between killing, he was hijacking trucks. How did he find time to run the Gambino family? I'm just curious.
Buy it up there or sell it up there. And eventually, as I got older, it became me selling it up there and putting guys up there and different locations around the neighborhood selling drugs for me. But to start off as a kid, I was a young boy that came from a family that just came from Albania. My father was born over in Albania.
All right, so he says his father was born in Albania, right? He comes here, and all of a sudden, the Italian mafia respects him like he's an Albanian godfather. It's unbelievable.
And it was a rough country, known for being at war since the Ottoman days. It was no money. It was a third world country, suppressed communism. So when I came into, when I was born and my father came into the United States, married my mom, people really didn't know what Albania was. It wasn't like saying you're Italian or Greek or...
Yeah, so he wishes he was Italian back then. Like he would have did anything to be Italian. Just like a lot of these people on the internet. It's crazy.
Another nationality that people really knew. Because the country was so closed down or locked down, you didn't have that many Albanians. So I grew up where my father believed in violence as a protection, not as a use to hurt people. He wanted to make sure that I could handle myself.
Oh, so he that wore off on you? You mean the violence? But you didn't use it as protection. You used it to hurt other people. Isn't that right, Johnny?
And not get bullied in the streets, where he grew up in Rivington and Delancey.
He did. He gave Merlino and Gotti their bones. He had to ask him for permission to get made.
Manhattan, Lower East Side.
He was the finger cutter.
Was a tough neighborhood. That's the neighborhood where Vito Genovese was born and raised, and
Thanks,
guys
Gary.
like that, where my father became friends with them, but on the outskirts, not a gangster. He wasn't out there killing. He was a gambler. He was a street guy.
Hey,
he played
Carl,
dice on the
how are
street
you?
and stickball and box.
Carl,
He knew all the gangsters, and he got very friendly with guys like Lucky Luciano's cousin, Blackie, Charlie.
Yeah, all right. Now, his father was tight with Lucky Luciano's cousin.
Luciano, same name, and I became one of his partners over the years. So these guys like El Greco.
His father wasn't even anywhere near this mob shit. And now all of a sudden he had close association with Lucky Luciano's cousin. Where does this shit come from? It's crazy. This guy's deluded. He didn't take his meds on this one.
Gangsters, killers, El Greco was the norm of people that I started seeing as a young boy, 3 and 4 and 5 years old. I was on their laps in a Bronx Den card game that my uncle was partners with Luciano. And Al Greco frequented. It was basically the strong arm for them at that time. Guys like Handsome Jack. And these are some of the nicknames and guys that were my father's friends and partners in business and my uncles. So when I'm raised around them, I get...
Oh, so you were kind of like born into the life, right? Is that what you're saying, John? Yeah, right? You were born into life. Don't worry. He told you guys how he ran a mile when he was 1 year old and how he ran 5 miles when he was 5 years old. Pretty crazy. You got Rambo here in the flesh.
Got a good look at a diversity of real serious street guys that without them saying much, you start understanding they're very powerful. You start understanding they're controlling the city, not just that Bronx card game. And so as a kid, it was very natural for me to be and see violence, whether it was in my streets, whether it was around my father's friends.
See, in other interviews, he said he didn't even use a baseball bat or anything until his late teens, 17. All his friends were doing it, though, but not him. So I don't know. Now he's saying he was violent from the get-go.
Whether it was in a boxing gym or whether it was in the basement. My father had us in the basement.
All right, here we go. Now just play the Rocky music in your head when you listen to this, all right? Dun, 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 dun.
Me at 3, my brother at 4. And he put gloves on us and tell us to fight. And, you know, when you look back, people would say, wow, your father, you know, they look at him in a hard way. I don't. I look at him in a loving way, because what he taught me was to survive the streets that
dun, 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 dun.
I ended up living in. You know, people say, well, your father was nuts for what he taught you. He didn't teach you schooling. My father taught me what he understood was the best way to survive. He did it out of love. He didn't do it out of trying to develop me to be into a gangster. He tried to develop me to be a pro ball player.
Which you were not either. So this guy was not in the mafia. He was not a baseball player like he imagines in his mind. That shit never happened. Just like now, all of a sudden, he was a pro ball player, semi-pro. That's why he sells baseball bats on his fucking website.
And at the same time, he developed me into a killing machine without realizing.
A killing machine, huh? Dun, 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 dun.
What he was doing to me. So I think the aggression started with me just as a simple thing, riding a tricycle at 3 years old. And by the time I'm 4, I wasn't very coordinated, I guess, at those ages. I was very rough and tumble, and my brother was he was actually very graceful. So I would try to stay up with my older brother, which was very difficult because he was naturally graceful in sports and boxing.
So he says it was very difficult to keep up with his brother, right? But he still ran a mile at 1 year old, 5 miles at 5 years old. Take a listen.
And I was very sloppy. And if somebody asked me to do something and go around a curve with my bike, I'd just go through it. I'd go through the bushes, I'd fall. And people would cringe, my aunts, my grandmother, and they would say, Johnny, stop riding that bicycle. And instead, I just keep getting up and getting on the bike, and I'd be all bruised up, I'd be bleeding everywhere. And my mother would plead with me, just don't ride a bike. You don't have to do what Jimmy does, your brother. Just do your own thing. So
they're talking about Jimmy Cheeks there. The one with the implants in his cheeks. He has fucking implants in his cheeks. They're like, it's fucking weird shit. Very weird.
I was used to that blood, even riding a bicycle. I was used to the pain, and I started embracing it. The more that people said how tough I was, the more I played up to that. Even as a child, the more my father put me in the ring with my brother and he beat me up, the more I wanted to go in the ring and get beat up and show how tough I was. It wasn't necessarily about winning. It was about showing that I could take it. And as the years went on, I just got more aggressive. And I started running around the streets, and my friends were very, very aggressive guys.
All right, so now his friends were aggressive, but he wasn't, right?
I come from a neighborhood where guys were getting locked up at 11, 12 years old, and all my friends were killers, and they were shooting guys, stabbing guys. They were in reform schools.
He was working in a fucking deli making sandwiches. Hey, Jeffrey, how are you?
We're in juvie, Spofford, drug rehabs at young ages. My friends were on a David Susskind show at 12 years old for violence and drugs. I wasn't really to that level at that time, so it was surprising for people to see.
So how was he a killing machine if he wasn't even doing anything at 1 to 5 years old? Just watch, it's coming.
As I kept aging, that I was getting more and more violent, and I started slowly passing my friends as far as becoming that person that people really didn't think I was. But what they didn't see was the training that went behind it.
Do you want extra mayo on that, sir? That's how he pushed it over the edge. He put extra mayo on a fucking sandwich.
3 years old, my father would have me down the basement doing 5 push-ups.
All right, listen close, listen close. It gets good right here.
Slowly passing my friends as far as becoming that person that people really didn't think I was. But what they didn't see was the training that went behind it. At 3 years old, my father would have me down the basement doing 5 push-ups. At 5 years old, I was down the basement doing 25 and 30 push-ups a set.
Oh, do you hear this fucking guy? It's fucking... Can you imagine telling your 3-year-old, go downstairs, fucking do push-ups right now? 5. I want 5.
My father would have me down the basement doing 5 push-ups. At 5 years old, I was down the basement doing 25 and 30 push-ups a set. At 5 years old, I was running a couple of miles. I'd go to the track with my father, and I'd have to follow him while he was running because he was a boxer. And I started running by 10 years old. I'm running 10 miles myself.
10 miles? That's what it was, 10 miles. Oh, man, you can't make this shit up. Wow, he was a fucking beast. Get in the basement.
Set. At 5 years old, I was running a couple of miles. I'd go to the track with my father, and I'd have to follow.
Go look at a 5-year-old. Go look at what a 5-year-old looks like and tell him to go run a couple miles, kid. He'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about? This guy's nuts.
Drug rehabs. As I kept aging, that I was getting more and more violent, and I started slowly passing my friends as far as becoming that person that people really didn't think I was. But what they didn't see was the training that went behind it. At 3 years old, my father would have me down the basement doing 5 push-ups. At 5 years old, I was down the basement doing 25 and 30 push-ups a set. At 5 years old, I was running a couple of miles. I'd go to the track with my father, and I'd have to follow him while he was running because he was a boxer. And I started running by 10 years old. I'm running 10 miles myself. And I was an
So you upgrade mile a year, huh?
extremely good shape. So I was sitting in a boxing ring, Lost Battalion Hall, with some famous fighters later on. Was Jerry Cooney and different guys like that. David Sears, who fought Michael Spinks in the old days. And
yeah, all right. You fought all these. You didn't fight these fucking guys. You're a good storyteller. I will give you that, Johnny. You are a good storyteller, but it's kind of not believable. So, okay, I got a couple questions, Johnny. So what would happen if you're running, right? But you're following your dad and you can't keep up no more because you're just a little kid. What do you do then, Johnny? Drag you? Made you keep going? Like, what was the deal then? Couldn't sit it out, huh?
I look at these guys, and these guys were top-ranked, up-and-coming pro fighters that I wanted to be just like them. I wanted to be tough like them. I wanted to be an Al Greco as a gangster. So everybody that I surrounded myself with were tough guys one way or another, and street guys in my eyes. And
so what happened? When it was time to keep your mouth shut, what happened?
You have my baseball coach, who was Fat Andy Ruggiano's son. So
here we go again. He's talking about, you know, the rat that was born. He wasn't made. He was just born. That Andy's son was a big, fat, loser rat. He was a drug addict, nobody, never in the mob, none of that shit. He uses it to his advantage now. Hey, gotta do something with your shitty life, right?
Andy Ruggiano was a captain, the boss of our neighborhood that was part of Murder Inc. and Lucky Luciano. And
you see how he needs to throw all this other shit in there to make it like relevant, kind of?
Albert Anastasia was his guy.
Let me guess. You were there at the making ceremony, huh?
So Albert Anastasia straightened out Fat Andy Ruggiano, made him a made guy in 1954, I believe. This is my grandfather figure. This is my baseball coach's father.
Kid was a fucking cocaine addict junkie. He wasn't in the mob. He had his own fucking brother-in-law. I think it was his brother, his girlfriend, his sister's husband killed, right? On some sucker shit, too. They suckered him. They lured him into a fucking room. And then right when he went into the room, he backed up and left. And the other guy killed him. And guess what? What did he do? Cooperated. Told on them. Because he wasn't a gangster either. None of these guys are. They're gangsters on YouTube. That's about it. This
is a guy that starts really opening my eyes to the next level of becoming a killer. So by, I guess, about 12 years old, I'm playing baseball and I'm using that bat to hit a ball. But then I start using that bat as favors to different gangsters.
He's in other interviews saying, I didn't start using a bat till I was like 19. So now all of a sudden that age changed, huh?
You go pick up money for me here or there, and it's a slow transition.
Yeah, I'll take my tricycle. What is it, 20 miles away? Don't worry, I ran that this morning.
Before you realize you're going to use that bat and put it over someone's head when they don't pay. So I believe I was 13. I was working in Dick's Deli.
See, he was working in Dick's Deli. How ironic. Dick's, huh? When did your buddy Gene start working there? When did this guy work there?
I did this to the door. I pushed the door in.
Is that how he made his entrance into work, like this? I'm here. Here for my shift.
I did this to the door. I pushed the door in.
And Louis Gaddy was a Lucchese guy, bookmaker, great guy, sharp dresser, another good role model as a gangster for me because he was successful. You know, in the street world, there's a lot of bums, but the guys I happen to be around are all successful, big money guys, tough guys.
Oh, no, just the guys that were around you, right? No, you weren't around no bums. It was just, you were just around the successful guys. The rest of the guys were all bums, right? Oh, yeah, the guys that don't cooperate are bums, but not you. That's how it goes, right?
And sharp guys with, you know, driving beautiful cars. Back in those days when Lincoln and Caddy convertibles.
Let me guess, you had one, right? At 12.
And I started looking every time I turned around. The next kid's looking at that baseball player, that actor, and I'm looking at that next gangster.
Sounds real good. But I hope you guys like this show. There's a lot more to come. Just wanted to pop on here today and let you guys know the craziness that's going on. But I got a lot more things on the way. Don't forget to stay tuned. Tonight is going to be Sugar Bear Barberi. And I have more interviews with Lou Ferrante. And lots of content on the way. I hope you guys like this. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like this podcast, too bad. Start your own. I appreciate all you guys. And remember, don't be a bitch.